Good day. I'm your tutor for Human Rights Policing, Diploma Policing. This session is for assignment and examination-based contact classes that will be on 17 June 2017. Now, just to give you a scope or an overview of what we are going to have here is I'm going to introduce myself, then we'll have the aims of these contact classes, the structure of the assignments, continuous assessments, and the calculation of the marks, assignments, preparation and tips, the examination preparation and tips, and then the course outline, what this is all about, and then we'll conclude. Now, to start off with, as I said, I'm George Jacob. I have a BTech degree in forensic investigation obtained from UNISA in 2011. I also have attended various courses in my policing career in the past. Since 1993, I had police basic training. I have obtained the basic criminal investigations training during 95, specialized criminal investigation training. I obtained unit commanders training, supervision for warrants and warrant officers. I have held previous positions as an investigator. Started out in 94 in Kitmasuk until April 98. And then I was transferred to be the unit commander at Criminal Investigation Unit in Karasburg, 98 to 99. I've also worked as an investigator and second in command at the Motor Vehicle Theft Investigation Unit in Windhoek from 99 to 2000. I've worked as an investigator and second in command at Serious Crime Unit, Investigation Unit in Windhoek. This unit was tasked with investigating cases throughout the country at the time, from 2000 to 2000 to 2004. I've also worked as a unit commander at the Criminal Investigation Unit in Swakopmund from April 2004 to November 2007, from where I was transferred to be the staff officer in the Regional Crime Investigation Coordinator's Office, the RCIC. I was in Erango region from November 2007 to July 2013. I also acted as the Regional Crime Investigation Coordinator from time to time. I was previously a guest lecturer from 98 to 2002 at the Israel Patrick Iambo Police Training College, the Criminal Investigation Training Wing. I am currently employed by the Financial Intelligence Center in Namibia, with Bank of Namibia, as a financial intelligence analyst, a senior financial intelligence analyst. I became in February 2015 to date. Now, the aims of these contact classes is to prepare you for the assignment and examinations forthcoming, and to make sure that you have the best possible chance to do well when this comes, and to discuss the assignment and examination structures, how it works, explain continuous assessments and calculation marks, and give you tips. The assignments that you have consist of two main questions with sub-questions. In example, question 1 would be from 1.1 to 1.3, whilst question 2 has 2.1 to 2.3 subsections. Questions are from the study guide that is provided to you by IOL. You may be expected to discuss, analyze, outline, define, and list or name facts in these assignments. Question marks allocated will vary between 3 to 25 marks in the questions and sub-questions. As for the continuous assessment and the marks calculation, the inclusion of this continuous assessment is to try and get you to notice the seriousness of what we are giving you and to align your studies accordingly. That is the purpose of this presentation. The continuous assessment per module consists of one assignment of 120 marks. You would be expected to attain a 50% continuous assessment mark for admission to your examinations. The duration of the examination for 12 credits is 2.5 hours, 2 hours 30 minutes. Written examination of 120 marks. A final pass mark of 50% is required, calculated by 60% of the examination mark and 40% of the continuous assessment mark. A sub-minimum of 50% must be attained during the examination. This is important. You must reach at least 50% during the examination. For example, suppose assignment continuous assessment mark was 50 and your examination mark was 50. 40% of the 50 equals 20, which is calculated at 50 times 40 divided by 100. Similarly, 60% of 50 is 30, and 50 calculated in the way of 50 times 60 divided by 100. So your final mark will then be 50. The setting and marking of examinations, examination papers are moderated. Now, it is also important for me to give you the following through the guidelines for assignments. You must carefully read questions in assignment before answering them. You must also carefully read the topics in the module to prepare the correct answer. Yeah, so it happens at times that you answer a question, but the answer is not related to the question. So it is important for you to carefully read, we cannot emphasize enough, before you do anything. Consult relevant books, your study guide, for example, to prepare the correct answer. Consult relevant experienced personnel, call me, mail me. It is usually advisable that you mail me, because then you can have an answer in writing. And if you happen to ask police officers for advice, please do not ask them to do the assignment for you. This is most of the time evident when you don't. It is better for you to do it yourself, then that way you can prepare, and you know what you've prepared is what you've put in. You are not limited to provide me answers strictly related to the study guide. You can also add whatever you read up and you've seen, but it should be relevant and remain relevant. And please ensure to attach the correct assignment cover for the assignment to avoid disqualification of the assignment, because there are many times that we found that you can just imagine, if you put the wrong cover, that assignment goes to the wrong, or will be going to the wrong person. Now, that person receiving, that tutor receiving it, will only say that this is not mine, and it will be posted back to you. So basically, you'll get no marks for that. It is important. Make sure that your correct assignment cover is attached to the correct assignment. Please write legibly and clearly. I know it's not always possible, but it is important that you understand that the person that needs to sign or do something to this needs to understand what you're saying. Number your answers according to the assignment questions. I may not penalize you for not doing that, but then if you do something else, they should be numbered in such a way that I would understand what you are trying to do. Look at the marks allocation. Please make sure that if you are expected to give 10 facts or 20 facts, give 10 facts or 20 facts, instead of writing 5 and expecting to be given 20 marks for the 5. Refrain or avoid from dumping relevant and irrelevant facts at the same time. This may cost you some points, valuable points. Now, from the assignment to the examination, you would be expected to write clearly and legibly, structure your answers through headings and numbers and logical sequence. We've talked about it earlier. Make sure that if you don't write them as expected or from what is in the exam paper, you need to mark them in such a way that I would understand that this answer is for this question. Make sure that your student number and all details requested are written correctly on the answer sheet. Write in blue or black ink. Remember, cheating in the examination will result in failing grade. You will be failed. Serious steps will be taken against any individual who disturbs an examination session. Once again, refrain from dumping relevant and irrelevant facts together. You may lose points for this. Now, you will also receive pointers or instructions when you receive your examination paper. I would like to explain a few to you. No authorized material devices may be in your possession when you are in the exam room. Remember, should you be responsible in any irregularities during the writing of the examinations, the following may happen to you. The head of examination or the invigilator will collect your answering script and evidence. You will be requested to give an explanation as a declaration on what has happened. The answer script, evidence and declaration will be forwarded to the irregularity committee for verification. No, you will not receive any examination mark for the particular subject. You will also be suspended for studies for that particular subject for 12 months or 2 consecutive examination sessions. It is an infringement of the examination regulation to try and assist someone else, or be assisted, or to receive anything like that, or to try and make contact with another during the sessions. Your cell phone must be switched off. If not, the head of examinations will collect your answering sheet and you will not be allowed to complete the examination session. You may not leave the examination room within the first 30 minutes after the examination has started, or during the last 15 minutes of the session. A late arrival of 30 minutes after the start of the exam will result in a no turn up given, and you will not be allowed to write during the specific examination. You are reminded that the question paper remains the property of IOL and may not be kept by you nor removed any pages. Under no circumstances may the question paper sheet, book, or removed from the exam room. All question papers must be handed over to the invigilator. Should you need additional paper to write on, ask the invigilator. Answer on any other paper will not be considered. Please, no other documents. If you want answers, if you are writing answers, make sure that you add it on the exam document that is going to be handed in. Rafuk may only be done on the question paper or paper provided by the invigilator. You must sign the checklist before you leave the examination room. Smoking and eating is prohibited in the exam room. Please do not dive into writing. First, read the question paper. Make sure that you read it before you start writing. For questions with 20 marks, write at least 1.5 pages and more, not half a page for 20 marks. Students will fail to score any points. It is important for you to make sure that if you are given 20 points to give me answers on 20 points, you must write 20 relevant facts. Now for the course outline. You will understand that we will not be handling all the work that is in the study guide. As you can understand, time is not on our side, but I'll prepare you for the exit learning outcomes that are there, which will guide you obviously to look into subsections that goes with it. Your first exit learning outcome is human rights and international law. Under that you will find what are human rights, examples of human rights, which are usually right of life, right to health, right of nationality, right to education, etc. Who makes international human rights laws? Monitoring of human rights. What are international human rights? The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, various human rights conventions that Namibia has ratified to. You need to know them. The UN Code of Conduct for law enforcement officials. There are standards that that are basically put there. It must be maintained. Human rights versus law and order in Namibia. How is it handled? How can respect for human rights assist the police? And different human rights violations police should be concerned about. I mean, these are usually genocides, torture, and what goes with it. These ones are the headings, and the basic information that goes with it needs to be studied by you. The exit learning outcome of number 2, human rights policing and the Namibian Constitution. Human rights and policing. How can the Namibian police force help with human rights? As you know, the police, in trying to uphold human rights, has got an internal investigations department that investigates cases against police officers that transgress the law. So that's one way of them trying to ensure that human rights are upheld. Protection of and respect for human rights by police. The role of training in human rights protection. How can officers be trained? What can be done to train them? What can be used to train them? The Namibian police force contributing towards human rights training. For example, the basic ethics that police officers may have, their professional conduct. These are of a few that can be used under the their contribution, the police contribution towards human rights training. The importance of the Namibian Constitution, that it is there to be upheld. There are certain things that needs to be done, and police are there to uphold that. The repeal and amendment of the Namibian Constitution, how is it done? Human rights in the Namibian Constitution, an example. What other mechanisms are put in place to handle that part? The ombudsman, for example, is one way of handling that. The other is the Legal Assistance Center. Yes. So our exit learning outcome 3 is policing and administration of justice. What is policing? For example, what is the purpose of policing? Why are police there? What do they stand for? The principles of policing, on what are their existence based. The history of policing in Namibia prior to independence. You will know that there was a German era, there was a South African era. These are parts that are discussed that you need to know, be aware of. The establishment of the Namibian police force, its functions, for example. How was it established? The administration of justice, the judiciary, the courts, the removal of judges, judicial commission. Those are all points that you need to look at and know the differences. And your fourth exit learning outcome is generations of fundamental human rights. What are fundamental human rights? What are generations of human rights as part of the classification of rights? You find social and civil rights. So these are all that needs to be taken in consideration. The development towards an international Bill of Rights and the fundamental human rights in Namibia. Are there some? How are they handled? And your exit learning outcome 5 deals with cultural diversity, human rights, and universality of human rights. What is cultural diversity? What is universality of human rights? Cultural diversity opposed to human rights, and universality and cultural relativism. The common standards conflicting with different cultures. So these are usually or need to be. You need to know the differences between them. And as conclusion, the following tips are relevant. Some of them may have been mentioned earlier, so please remember, one fact, one mark. You can't give me 10 marks and expect 20 marks scored. The framework of exam investigation requires that you know and understand all concepts, techniques. You must know all your concepts that are in there and try and understand them in order to be able to explain. Number your facts or use bullet points. Please do not write paragraphs, because it causes one to look for points, and you may find yourself in a position where the tutor may not go and look for points. Mark number them or mark them by bullets. Avoid dumping irrelevant and relevant facts simultaneously. This usually causes for the tutor to go and look for points. In example, and I basically have given this so many times since the beginning of this session. Don't write 20 facts instead of 10, mixing them, because if I mark only the first 10, which will be the right thing to do, you may lose the points that you have scored in the 11 to 20 part. This may result in you losing points. Follow the instructions closely. Use your best handwriting. Short questions may be there, so please try and know the smaller things that you need to know. And I'm wishing you all the best with your assignment and exam preparations. Please remember, do not take anything for granted. Whatever you start, try and finish it. Others may not have the privilege of opportunity that you had. Thank you.